Brian, thank you so much for being with us. I'm really fascinated by what you're trying to accomplish, and I wonder what brings you to D.C., why you're meeting with lawmakers.
Making new friends. I think we are in a new era of being human, and Don't Die is going to become the world's next major movement. And so here to talk about health, wellness, and what we can do to improve it.
What have your conversations with lawmakers been like? I also noted that you're mostly speaking, I think almost exclusively with Republicans. Is there any reason why?
Oh no, I'm really talking to everybody. And so the goal here is that find common ground on things we can take action on. Everybody wants to be in good health. Everybody values good health. And we have a lot of fighting in the country. It's really, if we could come together to be a healthy nation, it'd be very positive.
What are you eyeing? Regulation, funding, policy proposals? What's the substance of it?
I came here to learn without an agenda, so no asks. Actually, I'm actually offering to help people with their personal health. Like how do you achieve high quality sleep? How do you select good foods to consume? So really here to make friends, try to find opportunities.
I do want to ask you about sleep. I struggle getting sleep myself, so we'll get there. What is your message to the administration and specifically to President Trump?
Yeah, I think that sleep is the most underrated aspect of health. We have a culture in our nation that says if you don't sleep very much, it's kind of a flex. If I say I only need 3 to 4 hours of sleep, if I sleep under my desk, and I want to say sleep is the most powerful drug in existence to improve decision-making, mood, wisdom. And so really, I think we are sleeping on sleep. And if we could prioritize that as a country, we might all be better off.
I've read that you meet with a slew of doctors every day. And so I'm curious to get your thoughts on HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and his Make America Healthy Again platform. Is there an overlap there? And what do you make of some of the vaccine skepticism, his sort of shunning of established science?
Yeah, I love that he is making a specific effort to try to holistically address the nation's health. As to his specific things, like everyone's going to disagree about things on a different level, but I like the gist of what he's trying to do. I'm here to help in every way I can. I think that it'd be cool if we said America were to be the #1 country in the world for life expectancy. That'd be a great goal for us to have.
Do you share some of that vaccine skepticism?
The vaccine, that is such a complicated topic, not one that could be addressed in a soundbite. It is a nuance. This is the thing with science, is it's not reducible to a soundbite. You really need to take a measured, comprehensive look. I've learned this myself. Like when you try to do a trimmed down soundbite version, it just gets destroyed. It needs to be much more measured and comprehensive and nuanced.
Your message, though, is don't die.
Don't die.
That is an easier thing for folks to accomplish, for people to be healthier if they have disposable income to spend on doctors and research. I wonder what your message is on that issue, the fact that there are such huge disparities in income related to health outcomes.
Yeah, the most powerful thing anybody can do that does not require money is to lower the resting heart rate before bed. So you're going to find in life that things that increase your resting heart rate before bed, for example, eating a big meal or having high stress, that really increases your heart rate, which lowers your sleep, which lowers your willpower. So these things people do have control over, but it's really making specific health-forward decisions that everybody can do. They don't require resources. It's part of a cultural habit.
A cultural habit. So I assume that some level of education would be part of a program that you might promote, getting people to understand healthier habits.
For example, even something basic like if your bedtime is 10 p.m., try to have your final meal of the day by 6 p.m. No snacks, no food after. You'll notice that as you push back your last meal of the day, your heart rate will go down. When the heart rate goes down, sleep goes up. And then it changes everything in life. And so other things, for example, like having a 60-minute wind down routine. Bedtime's at 10, so at 9 p.m., phones are off, screens are off. You're reading a book, going for a walk, meditating, talking to a friend. But these really basic habits really have the biggest yield for health.
Some of that is going to be difficult for me, I'll confess.
Let's go through it.
I look at my phone constantly. I love a late night snack. I do want to ask you about some of your processes, some of your regimens. I read that you consume upwards of 50 pills a day. You've spent millions on research and experimentation. You've ingested experimental compounds. I saw that you were open about an experiment with facial injections that kind of backfired. I read that you shocked your genitals.
Yeah.
Is there a line that you won't cross with these experiments?
No, there's no line. This is all in the name of science. And so over the past couple of years, I've become the most measured human in history. There's more data on my body than any human's ever lived. I have the best biomarkers of anybody on planet Earth. And so I've tried to take health, which is more of an esoteric, storytelling-based way of approaching life, to a quantitative scientific methodology approach. And so there's a richest person in the world, there's a fastest, now there's a healthiest. So I've tried to make this into a sport, something people can like, signal, like this is what I'm trying to do. So I've tried to change the narrative on like what it means to be healthy. And so we've gone to the edge of all possibilities. And so we really want to demonstrate you can achieve high quality health through a scientific, rigorous process.
How do you know? How do you measure I have the health of a certain age versus the calendar age?
Yeah, exactly. So you're chronologically, someone can be 50 years old, but have the heart health of a 35-year-old or a 60-year-old. So your biological age is different than your chronological age. And you have over 70 organs in your body. Each one has an age. Same with your biological processes. So we've measured the biological age of all the organs of my body and the biological systems to have a baseline. Then we go to work and say, can we slow down the aging process or reverse the aging damage?
To the point of certain things backfiring, there are medical experts that suggest that oversupplementation or taking drugs for off-label use, some of the other things that you've tried out, could be adverse to your health. I wonder if there are times when you think you might be doing more harm than good, not only to yourself, but to others who may be thinking of following your example.
Sure, yeah. I mean, people oftentimes, they assume I'm at higher risk for experimentation. They have to remember when they eat that fast food meal, they too are doing an experiment. Right? My experiment is just with vegetables and extra virgin olive oil and other things. So it really has to be in balance. Now, the key is that, of course, all these things are potentially may not work, but the goal is to measure. And so I don't have any particular opinion about any given diet or any kind of medical therapy. Just measure and follow the scientific process.
Now, you sell a set of supplements, I guess you would call them, right? I wonder if you've ever seen any data that has indicated to you that your products may cause side effects or that they're not as efficient as they may seem.
Yeah, all the ingredients we have. So when I was going through this process, we went through all the scientific literature. We said, what are the best performing foods and nutrients that one can digest? I did it myself. We tested in a third-party lab. My friend said, I want access. I said, sure, here you go. We just made it available to other people. They can choose it if they want. If they want to do it on their own. I open source the entire thing. And so each ingredient is generally safe. So there's nothing novel, there's nothing new in there. We've just put it together in a way that is tested, accessible, and low priced.
And on the record, you'll say you use the stuff that you sell.
Oh, I make this for myself, for sure.
I see.
Yes.
I do want to give you an opportunity to respond to a New York Times report. I'm sure you saw it. It had to do with non-disclosure agreements, some former employees, former colleagues alleging that you impose non-disclosure agreements on them, even on former romantic partners, in part, some of them say, to silence a toxic work environment. How would you respond to those allegations?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. They did a year's worth of investigative research on me, talked to 30 people, and the best they could come up with to say I use NDAs, everybody uses NDAs. Everybody has an NDA in their job. So really, there's nothing there. They're trying to make something big out of nothing. I actually do something in a positive sense where I say, if you come work for me, here's my environment, here's what we do, here's how we do it. If you like it, great. So I try to be very transparent. I try to be very open, make sure it's consensual by everybody who's participating.
You don't have a specific response to some of the allegations from former workers about improper language being used in the workplace, or is that something you want to address?
There was no improper behavior in the workplace. The New York Times did a hit piece. They had a specific agenda they wanted to achieve. They actually made inaccurate statements. So it's just like typical New York Times hit piece stuff. Anyone who's been on the other side of that kind of thing, they know that's what happens. So no, there's nothing to it.
I want to be clear, it's not CNN's reporting, so it's not as though we've vetted any of those remarks, but I did want to give you the chance to talk about that. I did read that you have the chemical structure of DMT, a psychedelic, tattooed to your body. Is that true?
That's true.
Why?
Yeah. I really think psychedelics are very powerful. They're in clinical trials now to treat PTSD, for other disorders. I think they really are a promising medicine. I think we should explore and embrace them as much as we can.
What role have they played in your journey toward trying to seek immortality?
Yeah. They have not been part of the longevity protocol, so there's not a lot of evidence on psychedelics as it relates to longevity. There's good evidence as it relates to PTSD and anxiety, depression. So for those specific tracks, I think they're very promising, and I think people should be given the option of that versus they're looking at SSRIs or other treatments. I think people really need the power to choose what path they want to try to solve the things that ail them.
I read that part of the beginning of this journey for you toward health had to do with a change that you made in your life. And it was on your website describing that before you started making these changes, you were chronically depressed. Tell us about what led you to the conclusion that you needed to sort of alter the direction of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you were to poll people in the United States right now, I think you'd find a substantial portion of people are suffering from some meaningful mood disorder, anxiety, depression. It's really a challenging time, although we keep these things secret. So I've been very open. I've said for 10 years, had this deep chronic depression. I tried everything to fix it. And so I'm very sympathetic to people who are suffering from some kind of disorder. And I want to try to help them understand how they can make baby steps in trying to address it. And again, like resting heart rate before bed, this is a good practice. Sleep is the most powerful medicine anybody can take every single day, but yet we are a sleep deprived culture. So I really tried to connect my personal experience of depression to what people can do on a daily basis to address their own challenges.
So a couple more sort of overview questions, and then we'll talk about my sleep habits. I'm not sure how much you read internet comments, but I first came across you from a series of memes.
Yeah.
I wonder what you say to folks in the internet comment section who argue that this is sort of a stunt, that you're becoming a guinea pig to attract attention in order to profit from it.
Yeah. I mean, I love the comments. They're like my favorite. I love the comments. They're colorful, they're creative, they're funny.
Even the mean ones?
Yes, of course. It's just internet culture, right? And like you have to see it for what it is. People are just like getting along in their life. I take none of it personally. It's all fine. So, I mean, it's very hard to be human, right? And so like, I think when people see this, it's frustrating. They feel beat down by life. Every company in the world is trying to addict them to their thing, food, porn, right? Scrolling. It's really tough. So I'm deeply empathetic. I know where they're at and it's fine. Like I'm on their side. I'm here for them.
Are you afraid of dying?
No, I'm not.
So then what is it that guides this quest toward immortality?
This is the most spectacular moment in the history of the human race to exist. We are giving birth to superintelligence, to a possibility that we can't even fathom. This is so special. And if we can sober up and pay attention to this moment, like this really could be an unbelievably cool existence. And that's what I want to say is like, we are so stuck on these pleasures that we seek every moment, but if we can zoom out just a bit, it really is a phenomenal moment to be alive.
How old are you, Brian?
47.
And what is your, I forget what you would call
My
it, your
biological
age? What's your biological age?
I mean, if you weight all the measurements I have, I'm probably somewhere in my late 20s, early 30s.
Is it because of proper sleeping? Is it the supplements? What would you ascribe your health to? Because you look young. You look like a young, healthy person.
Yeah, I mean, my body functions in many ways like an 18-year-old. So I mean, when you just look at the biological function, not how I say I feel, but just measure my body, I'm competitive with many people in their teens. And so, yeah, so we use data and evidence, again, to make these conclusions. It's not a subjective assessment of how Brian Johnson says he feels.
No surgery or performance-enhancing drugs, nothing like that?
No, I publish everything I do, I publish. And so we go through this process, we say, what does the scientific evidence say, measure my biological age, and then do the experiments, like what happens. And so I recently did 23 sessions of sauna, 200 degrees Fahrenheit for 20 minutes, and had a dramatic reduction in the toxins in my body. I have a microplastics test. Microplastics are a hot topic.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
I took my microplastics down 93% to 1 particle. So we share all these results publicly. We share exactly how we do it. People can learn what I'm doing. They can do it at home. So we're really trying to start a big move. There's no catch here. There's not like you have to buy something from me. I share my protocol. They can do it.
Excellent. So on my sleep, I love a late night snack. If I eat and wait 4 hours before going to bed, I'm going to starve.
Yeah.
How do I overcome that?
Yeah. So this is great. So do an experiment. So do you have a wearable?
I do.
Okay,
Yeah.
So look at your wearable tonight. So when you go to bed, put your head on the pillow, take a few deep breaths and calm yourself down, and then see what your resting heart rate is. Let's say tonight it's 55, just for example. Your goal over the next 30 days is to take it to 50, okay? So you're going to learn which habits raise your heart rate and which habits lower your heart rate. So what time's your bedtime?
It depends. Usually I try to
Okay.
get in early. I try to get in
Yeah.
early, 8:30, 9 p.m., but sometimes there's sports events, there's
Right.
news events that draw your attention, there's the chaos of everyday life. So how do you stay consistent in that?
Okay, so let's just say 9 o'clock is your bedtime that you're roughly going to hit. So try to have your final meal of the day by 4 or 5.
4
or 5, just try it.
I'm still here at 4.
Just try it. Give it a go for just a couple days. See how you feel. You might feel a little hunger. You're okay. You're not going to die. but give your body a chance to just respond. Now again, like a couple days to acclimate. When you do that, your heart rate is going to go down, your sleep is going to go up, and you will feel amazing. And then you'll say, what's next? What else can I do to lower my heart rate? It really becomes, you just feel amazing.
What if, I guess the counter argument would be, what if you're not fully enjoying the things that you enjoy in life, an alcoholic drink, bacon, I can think of a million things, you're not truly living.
Yeah.
So is following too much of a protocol, is keeping track of too many metrics possibly taking away from your enjoyment of life?
You know, I have so many friends who are fully living and they're depressed. And so the ideas that people have about fully living, which is not sleeping well, drinking, smoking, staying up late, that is not fully living. That is depression, anxiety, that is cognitive decline. We have a misconstrued idea of what it means to be fully living. For me, it means feeling great. I love feeling great. I don't want to drink. I don't want to have pizza. I don't want to eat donuts. It's terrible. It makes me feel terrible. So we have it wrong in the U.S. This is not, our idea of fully living is just not on point.
No disrespect, Brian, but I feel great after having a donut, before and after having a donut. Brian Johnson, thanks so much for
But
joining us.
I wonder if you'd test otherwise.
I'll give it a shot, maybe. We'll see how long it lasts.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.